joined by Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett, and this is the German gymnastics meet from Stuttgart, one of the most prestigious events on the gymnastics calendar. And Tim Daggett, as we look at Natalia Lashenova from the Soviet Union preparing to vault, how does this event play into the Olympic calendar? How important is it?
Oh, it's very important. One of the most prestigious events on the calendar. Very, very important. And you note that we see Lashenova here from the Soviet Union, one of their top gymnasts. Says exactly how important this meet is. A full twisting laid out Yurchenko, beautiful vault. Just a slight hop on the landing. Such a powerful and dynamic athlete. Once again, we take a look at this. She does a round off, turns herself around on the board, a back layout with a full twist, and wow, that was way in the air, Leandra. Perfect concentration down the runway. There's that half turn, the back handspring onto the horse, a good push, spot the ground, and just that small little hop on the landing.
In women's gymnastics, they do execute two vaults, and we see a teammate holding up another vault family that she's going to do. So she will execute a second and different vault. That's
correct. We're in the individual event finals of the DTB Pokal, so she will be doing a different vault. I believe a handspring entry, more traditional vaulting style. Good powerful run. Handspring onto the horse with a half twist. Not really that dynamic of a vault, Leandra. I'm sure she's not too pleased with that. Didn't have the push off the horse that she needed to do the complete rotation without that big step on the landing.
When you do such a great vault the first time around, you tend to let down a little bit on the second vault?
Well, just a little bit. This is the only time she probably ever does this vault, is in the finals. She can score a 9-9 to a 10-0 on her other vault, and the only time she does it is for individual events.
You saw her score was 9.812 as we now move to a Romanian gymnast, Cristina Bontaș.
Very powerful gymnast from Romania. The same vault that Lashenova did, basically, except for she did it with her legs straight, which obviously makes the vault a little bit more difficult. This vault right here, it's called a handspring with a half turn to a back flip, or a cuervo. Good height in the air, just holds onto that pike just a little bit too long, has to take that big step back.
And that was just her second vault. The score is 9.862, the score for Cristina Bontaș. We are going to stay with Romania and look at Mirela Pasha, another strong performer for Romania. The team is rebuilding since the likes of Nadia Comaneci have since moved on.
Yurchenko-style vault. Good vault, just a little bit of a form break in the air, as you noted. Her legs come apart. That, of course, will be a 1 to 2/10 deduction, and of course, she did take the step on the landing. In the all-round competition, they get another try to do the vault perfect, but both of these vaults have to be great in the final. Just a little step back.
Now, this is Pasha. Her teammate, Bontaș, is still our leader with a 9.862. So 862 is the score she wants to beat. Lashenova had a 9.812.
She's just waiting for the okay from the judge at this point. Once again, we'll see a different type vault here. Handspring style with a front with a half, the exact vault that Lashenova did, and not very well. Didn't get the twist completed, Leandra. That should be a significant deduction.
And it's so much more noticeable when you step off the mat. When you have to take that step back, it just makes it look a little worse.
Well, it just shows a lack of control. She really does have some good flight, just doesn't get this twist all the way around, as you notice, and takes that hop back and a couple steps off the mat.
And there you see the score, 9.837. So right now she's step aside for a regional break. When we come back, more vaulting at Henrietta Onodi. And is she having a successful competition here at the DTB Pokal? She has already won the all-around title, and she is very, very popular with the crowd. You can see why. She's a very beautiful young lady.
And a beautiful vault here as well. Full twisting, laid out Yurchenko, and she rocks it. Well, you know, the Soviets usually don't ever take a back seat to anybody, but I tell you, this girl is someone to be reckoned with, and I know that they are quite concerned about her. She's just so elegant and so powerful, all in one gymnast. It's a deadly combination.
What's going to keep that from being a 10? Nitpick for me. I know they're going to find some fraction wrong with it.
Well, actually, my only criticism would be that she doesn't quite explode off of the horse. Her body doesn't rise quite high enough, but the landing is just wonderful. Possibly the reason why she doesn't rise up is she just gets onto the horse a little bit too high, doesn't have enough force coming into the apparatus itself, so she can't rebound off of the surface.
Second vault for Henrietta Onodi of Hungary.
Once again, remember, we'll see a different family vault here. She'll enter forwards. It's called a handspring. Barani and just a slight hop. Beautiful vault.
Now, a Barani is simply a round-off with no hands. It's like an aerial round-off.
That's correct.
So when you hear Tim using these names, sometimes you can break it down if you're familiar with some of the basic tumbling moves.
Exactly. We'll watch her do a handspring. Her body will stand up straight, and she'll do a round-off in the air or a front flip with a half turn with no hands, obviously.
And there's the score, a very respectable 9.893. And now one of the premier names from the Soviet Union, Svetlana Boginskaya.
Beautiful gymnast. She'll do a laid-out full twisting Yurchenko. Wow. Boy.
That's going to be a big challenge for Onodi.
Vintage Boginskaya there. You know, she really doesn't have the power of some of the younger athletes, but she just really doesn't give anything away. Perfectly straight in the air, laid out full twist, and just nails the landing. Now, Leandra, if I want to be real critical here, let's watch that as she lands this vault, one leg is actually out in front of the other. Okay, the camera's kind of skewing the vision there, but you'll probably be able to see it a little better here. We'll watch, she'll leave the horse. Good push, but really not too high in the air. And one leg in front of the other. That should be a very small deduction.
A subtle way to avoid a step, because that's just a weight shifting from front to back.
That's correct.
I like the Soviet leotards, too. This is very flattering.
Very different for them. Beautiful vault. Not quite enough rotation. You notice when the gymnasts have to take that step or the hop forward, they just didn't have enough speed either generated down the runway or power off of the horse. Her body really doesn't rise quite enough, doesn't have enough rotation, and has to take that small hop forward, but it is a small one.
I think it's the first vault that's getting her this score, 9.893, and that gives us a tie for the lead. Onodi and Boginskaya, they both share the gold medal in the women's vault competition. Apparatus in the women's event finals is the uneven parallel bars. You are looking now at Wu Li of China. I'm Leandra Riley, along with Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett. And Tim, on the uneven parallel bars, what should we be watching for?
Well, basically, the most important thing on this event has become the release element. Very similar to the men. They've got to show big flight, let go of the bar and re-grasp it. They don't want to see too many skills done on either bar in the row. That's why you'll see them go from the high bar back down to the low bar. There's her first release skill we just talked about. That one called a Tkachev, or a reverse heck. She looks just a little bit labored and a little bit off with, you notice the form break right there on the full pirouette. Her dismount, a double back, and a great landing, but a really mediocre routine there, Leandra.
Even in her straddles, one leg was higher than the other. So aesthetically, a lot of little things contributed to that not being a perfect picture.
It really wasn't a dynamic exercise. We're looking at her dismount here. It's a giant swing right into that double flyaway. Very nice in the air, and that, of course, very important, but she didn't get it done during the exercise itself.
Interesting scores, 9.712 for just what we would consider a so-so routine. No falls, no major breaks, but not the best looking. This is Svetlana Boginskaya. She shared the gold medal in the vaulting competition. Let's see what she can do on the unevens.
Here's her first release skill. There's a Tkachev, the same what we just saw from Lee, China. Now, in contrast to Lee, you notice that everything is maxed out here. The elbows are locked out, toes and knees perfectly extended, and her dismount, a double pike and a hop forward. Very technical exercise there.
This time she didn't land with one foot in front of the other.
She reserves that for vaulting. There, beautiful view of that. Reverse heck shows you exactly how far you have to travel over that bar backwards and re-grasp it. Nice vantage point to see, give you the feeling of what the athlete is seeing. Unique toe-on, toe-off there. And her dismount, double pike and the small hop.
Nice score, 9.875. Well, here comes a very, very strong competitor from the United States, Betty Okino. And she had a phenomenal competition in the all-around. She really burst onto the U.S. national scene. Everybody was looking at the USA's Kim Zmeskal, and along came Betty Okino and really, in essence, stole the show from Zmeskal.
That's right, Leandra. Second place in this competition. Phenomenal, phenomenal results.
As you can see, she's coached by Bella Caroli, trains in Houston, Texas, and she's having a great routine here.
She is motoring her way through this exercise. No deductions whatsoever. She'll show us a unique dismount. There's a front with a half twist or that Barani, and a beautiful landing.
So that all-around second place finish was no fluke. This gal's for real.
We'll take a look again at her release skill. This is that Tkachev. Reverse hecked over the bar and a perfect regrasp.
And a near-perfect score, 9.9 for Betty Okino. She moves ahead of Svetlana Boganskaya in the competition. Stay with us. More uneven bars yet to come. Coverage of the women's uneven parallel bars competition at the individual event finals. This is Henrietta Onodi, the all-around champion. She's already picked up a gold medal on vaulting. Let's see how she does on the bars.
Well, the thing that's so great about Onodi is she is fabulous everywhere. On every event, she has no weaknesses. Very unique skill from the low bar to the high bar. Nice transition part. That skill right there called a Ginger. A flyway with a half twist. There's another release skill, front flip, or a Jaeger, named after another famous gymnast. Working very well. Full turn, right into her dismount, double flyway. And wow, what can you say? She just doesn't give anything away.
She's a very, very small gymnast, and that's not redundant. If you saw her stand next to, let's say, Betty Okino, Onodi stands about 4'4", 4'5", while Betty Okino is about 4'7" to 4'9", somewhere in that range.
My only criticism here is she doesn't have the flight that some of the other athletes have. She doesn't quite rise above the bar on her release skills as well as some of the other girls. However, her leg form, toe point is just wonderful.
Again, the score she wants to beat is 9.9, Betty Okino's score. Then Boganskaya had a 9.875.
Full turn right into a double flyaway, extremely difficult, and she just nails the landing.
9.887. Now it's time for Mirela Pasha of Romania. We saw her in the vaulting competition. She received a 9.837 for her vault. Did quite well.
As you mentioned earlier, Leandra, the Romanians in a major rebuilding phase. And of course, they are struggling with their own internal problems as well, making it very difficult for some of the athletes to remain in top physical shape. Good exercise so far, though. Full twisting double back, extremely difficult, but the big step on the landing.
She had some form breaks throughout the performance.
That dismount, though, is going to be weighed in quite heavily, Leandra, because it is so difficult. All the other gymnasts that we've seen have chosen to do just a standard double back somersault. We've seen it in the pike position, but nobody's done a twist to it. That makes it so much more difficult.
Score for Pasha is 9.850, so once again, she finishes in fourth place. A fourth place for the vault, a fourth place in the uneven parallel bars competition. Betty Okino is the winner with the 9.9. Henrietta Onodi will now have to accept a silver, her first in this competition, followed by Boganskaya and, of course, Pasha. Balance beam is coming up next, but first, a regional break. Germany ready for the balance beam competition, the event that tests your nerves. This is Christina Bantash of Romania.
Now, Leandra, she has a very interesting mount on the balance beam, and I point that out because this is how the Yurchenko-style vault basically evolved. She'll do a round off onto the board and then tumble onto the balance beam. Extremely difficult.
Extremely scary when you think she could slam her head into the beam, but doesn't.
Oh, that is so difficult. She did it so well.
See, now we see it at the polished end, but learning that trick is a very, very scary maneuver.
Well, it certainly is. There were lots of falls to get to this point. There's no doubt about it. Shows us a nice leap series right into a back handspring step out. Getting ready for another tumbling run here. Here's back handspring step out to a layout. Nicely done. You know, it's so interesting watching the different athletes from their respective countries. There really are definite styles of each different country. This is very Romanian, obviously. Her movements of her arms and her head.
Notice how she stays on her toes, though, for so much of the dance elements, right there on her toes.
Well, it's good training, good classical ballet. I'm sure she's had a number of years. For dismount now. A little bit too long, much too long of a wait there. Round off back handspring, double back. Lands with that one foot in front of the other and a little bit of a hop on the landing. Very difficult exercise, however.
Romania's Christina Bantash.
Once again, we'll take a look at the mount here. Here's a round off onto the board, just like vaulting. Back handspring onto the beam, back handspring to a layout step out. Extremely difficult for dismount. But remember, a little bit too long in preparation for that. And of course, the slide back of the left foot and landing with one foot out in front of the other will be a deduction. Really doesn't have enough pop off of the beam to get this around comfortably.
9.862 is the score. On the vaulting, she received a bronze medal. She didn't receive any medals for the uneven parallel bars. She looks pretty strong on the beam. Now let's take a look at Natalia Lashenova of the Soviet Union. Now Lashenova on the uneven parallel bars was left out of the medal count. She vaulted a little stronger than her uneven parallel bar routine, but still no medals so far in this individual event final.
Very nice front flip onto the balance beam. That's a trend that we really haven't seen too much of lately. Back a few years, many of the gymnasts were doing saltos onto the beam. Oh, that was beautiful. Back handspring layout. She tumbles on the beam better than anybody in the world. It looks like she's on the floor exercise.
With the feet together. So many people do those moves step out. She had both feet side by side.
So impressive. The thing that the Soviets do so well is they knock your socks off with the big elements, and then they're just as graceful and as beautiful as anyone else. More so. Nice leap combination.
It's so effortlessly.
This is a wonderful exercise. Everything to the max. Beautiful flexibility.
And she's maximizing it. We saw the needle scale. We've seen the split stride leaps. We've seen so many times she's showing that hip flexibility. And that's a smart thing to do.
Well, she capitalizes on all of her strengths.
Sure.
Back handspring, double back. Two of them in a row. Boy, as I said, she really tumbles on the balance beam. Many of the other gymnasts are a little bit apprehensive where their feet are actually going to land. Boy, she looks like she's on a 40 by 40 floor exercise mat.
And I think one of the biggest reasons she looks like she's on a 40 by 40 mat is the fact that she keeps her feet together on that 4.5-inch wide beam.
And she does that here as well. Watch this. Back handspring into a layout. She explodes off of the beam. Oh, that's beautiful. Nobody does it like that. So tremendous. We've got to see this from another angle. Watch how high her body goes in the air. and then right back down on that 4-inch wide beam. Her dismount here, she'll do 2 back handsprings and explode into a double back somersault and just the smallest step back.
And the smallest of deductions, 9.9 for Lashenova. That certainly puts the pressure on Kim Zmeskal. She, too, is coached by Bella Caroli, trains in Houston, Texas, and, of course, represents the USA.
Well, you talk about pressure, but if there is one person who likes and thrives on pressure, it's Kim Zmeskal. We mentioned the trademarks of different countries. That's a trademark of Bella Caroli. All his top gymnasts have some type of pose done on their hands, from Phoebe Mills to Christy Phillips. Layout, step out, layout, step out. Very difficult tumbling pass. Done flawlessly. That skill right there, a full turn, is a requirement on this apparatus. You must do at least a full turn. Nice leap combination.
Again, to put size in perspective here, she's only about 4 feet 5 inches tall. She's got a little bit more room on the length of the beam to do that tumbling.
That's right, she can actually fit more elements in on the balance beam. Interesting skill. You saw her down close to the beam. That is a requirement. All the gymnasts must do a skill down on the beam. Her dismount, round off double back, and a great landing.
A compact little tumbler, Kim Zmeskal from Houston, Texas.
Well, you know, on her dismounts, it's always like it's a dart going right into the ground. She barely bends her knees at all. She just sticks it.
There's Coach Bella Caroli, Coach Mary Lou Retton to an Olympic gold medal, Coach Nadia Comanici of Romania to an Olympic gold medal. Would like to do the same with either Zmeskal or Aquino.
One of Kim's tumbling passes on the balance beam. Her most difficult one, back handspring, back layout, step out, back layout, step out. And a perfect landing. Her dismount here, my criticism is that her knees come a little bit too far apart. Let's watch this in the air. They're separated, and she takes a little bit of a hop. Both of those will be deductions.
9.850 is her score, so Lashenova is still our leader at 9.9. But coming up after this, we have Betty Aquino from the United States. Continues now with more from the balance beam. This is Betty Aquino of the United States. The score she wants to beat is 9.9. That was a score attained by Natalia Lashenova of the Soviet Union.
And this is where Betty's long lines are just so beautiful. She's so elegant on this apparatus.
Betty Aquino has interesting heritage. Her mother is from Romania. Her father from Africa. Although she is from the United States, they live in the United States and she is a citizen. But when she first went to train with Bella Caroli, he did not know that she spoke Romanian. So when he would speak with his wife so that the gymnast wouldn't hear her, she would eavesdrop, and he couldn't figure out how she knew what was going on. It was several weeks before she revealed to him that she understands the Romanian language.
So now they speak Hungarian, I'm told. This skill right here is so difficult. She's going to do a triple turn. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. Wow. I can't put into words how tremendously difficult that is to do on the balance beam.
Well, just stand up in your living room right now and try to do a triple turn on one foot on the floor. And then add the height factor and the width factor and the pressure, of course. And you can appreciate how hard a triple turn is.
Excellent exercise so far. She has her own unique style on this event. Tumbling pass here. Back handspring, double back. And a great landing. My goodness, what an exercise.
What a cute gymnast. Betty Aquino already has 1 gold medal. Maybe she'll have 2. That was a beautiful routine. Again, the score she wants to beat is 9.9.
Well, this type of work is certainly what has catapulted Aquino onto the top national and international scene. Back handspring step out, back layout, step out, layout, step out, with not even a slight bobble on the landing. Now here's her dismount. 2 back handsprings into a double back somersault, and this is critical right there, the great landing.
9.9. She ties Lishenova, and they share the lead right now. But the next competitor is a very, very tough one on balance beam, Svetlana Boginskaya. And of course, we haven't seen Henrietta Onodi yet on this apparatus.
9.9 is a tall order to try to obtain, but Boginskaya certainly is capable of that on the balance beam. We've talked a lot about style of different gymnasts, and you'll notice that her movements are very sharp and very quick, as opposed to an Aquino. She's a little slower. She's much more direct in this exercise.
She elects to wear a slipper, which is perfectly allowed.
The athletes have different preferences. Of course, that shoe gives Svetlana the grip that she likes best on the balance beam.
The balance beam looks like it's a piece of wood, but actually it's wood covered with a naga hide or a leather type of material. That's why you see in rosin, it does have a certain stick to it.
Nice layout step out there. Just a slight balance adjustment. Maybe a 0.5 of a point. Good exercise, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to overtake our leaders at this point. Will certainly come down to this right here, her dismount. She's got to stick it. Double back. And oh boy, that may just do it.
It was a clean routine, but I didn't find it as exciting as Aquino's routine. I don't know if it was a triple turn on one foot or what that really captured my imagination. 9.850. She does not take over the tie for first place between Lishenova and Aquino. Now we are looking at Henrietta Onodi, the all-around champion. And here's where you're going to see how her small height hurts her. She's only about 4'5". The other gymnasts are 4'8", 4'9". And you could just see where she doesn't have the long leg lines that the other gymnasts do. And I think sometimes it hurts in the grace department. Helps in tumbling, but hurts on an event like balance beam.
Nice first tumbling pass, back handspring step out to layout step out. And that is wonderful. That's her own skill. She does a back dive with a half turn to a front handspring out. She does something so difficult like that, and then on that half turn she had that balance problem. A little bit ironic. Great exercise, but a couple small mistakes. Right there's another one. She's just a little bit off balance, but very difficult skill there. Backward extension roll right to a split handstand.
This routine is not up to the caliber of her other routines. I mean, even the single turn there, that...
A little apprehensive, a little tentative in everything that she's done here.
And the form on her second leg on her tumbling, she always shows a flexed foot.
She may be a little bit tired from the all-round competition. Now this dismount here, a round-off triple twist. Very difficult. Oh, and just nowhere near enough energy. Has to put both of her hands down. Minimum of a 5/10 reduction on that, Leandra, so that, of course, will take her completely out of the running on balance beam.
There you see the score. So after a gold on vault and a silver on the unevens, she's shut out of the medals on balance beam. So here are the standings. Betty Aquino and Lishenova share the gold medal with 9.9, and then it's Vantash of Romania, and Kim Zemeskel actually ties Svetlana Boginskaya for fourth place. The final apparatus of the women's individual event finals. This is floor exercise, the combination of dance and tumbling that dazzles the crowd. Right now you are looking at Kim Zemeskel of the United States. I'm Leandra Riley, along with Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett. And what kind of performance should we see from Kim on floor?
Well, a power-packed performance, that's for sure. She is very dynamic on this exercise. Midway through the routine, she'll do a pass that I've never seen anyone perform. She'll do 3 whip backs right into a double back somersault. Extremely powerful gymnast here.
This is her only opportunity to pick up a medal in these individual event finals. She did not do well in vaulting, uneven parallel bars. On the balance beam, she did finish 4th, but that is out of the medal. So let's see what she can do on floor exercise.
If I had to pick an event, Leandra, this would certainly be the one where she does have her greatest potential. Slightly Romanian-sounding music here for Kim Zmeskal. Some of her coach's heritage showing. Bella Caroli. Pike full in back somersault. Way in the air. Done very nicely. You know, sometimes we say those words so quickly. A pike full twisting double somersault. Just think about doing 2 complete flips with 1 twist. Remarkable. Kim has an extremely playful style on the floor exercise. It's like a little girl acting out a play. Now here's that pass we talked about. Watch it, 3 whips right into a double back. Wow. Oh,
Extra steps.
just a little bit off balance. Too much rotation on that double back somersault. Kim has been recovering from an injury. You notice the protective wear on the wrist. Many of the gymnasts have wrist problems. Her dismount, double back somersault. That one was good.
Kim Zmeskal from the United States trains under Bella Caroli in Houston, Texas. And a fine performance, but a couple of extra steps that are going to cost her and just might keep her from getting a medal this day.
You know, she just really didn't seem to have the spark that she needed at this competition. You watch her sometimes compete in the United States and she just has the crowd behind her and it's like nothing can stop her. Here, she just really doesn't inspire them quite as much. Nice full twisting double back somersault though. The whip pass here. Count them, there are 3. There's 1. 2, of course, 3 into a back handspring. To a double back somersault. But watch this, holds on to it a little too long, has that little bit of a shimmy and the step back.
9.787. So that's the first score we've seen on floor exercise, but I don't think that'll be good enough, certainly for a gold medal. Let's hope for maybe even a bronze. The next competitor happens to be a teammate of Kim Zmeskal, Betty Aquino. Betty Aquino is just having the meet of her life here in Germany. Doing so well in the all-around competition, picking up the gold medal on the uneven parallel bars, then picking up another gold medal on the balance beam.
And you mentioned that she is a teammate with Kim Zmeskal, and that is so important in their training. They really complement each other. Betty is the graceful, artistic one, Kim, the powerful little dynamo. Well, we better see some dynamite here. Full twisting double somersault from Aquino, a little bit back, but boy, she holds on to it. Technically, that wasn't very strong. Her hips went back off of the takeoff. It was a little bit low, but the landing turned out just fine, so she will have no significant deduction there.
You know, we talked about somatotype on the balance beam and how being small actually hurts you because you don't have the long, leggy lines. Well, in tumbling, it's a bonus. You saw the powerful tumbling of Zmeskal, and now you can see the lankiness of Aquino, and she does not tumble as well as Zmeskal does.
But she looks so beautiful on the exercise itself. There's a nice double pike somersault.
But her dance elements, and don't get me wrong, her tumbling is very, very good. But you can just see how it helps being a little more compact.
Well, I think her style really helps to win the audience over. She pulls everybody in to become part of this exercise.
So light in her leaps. Very bird-like.
Her dismount, double back somersault. Well, that was excellent. As powerful as I've seen Betty look. That's going to be a big scoring routine.
And she gets a well-deserved applause from this knowledgeable crowd here in Stuttgart, Germany. DTB Pokal has been held here many, many years. And the Germans are big fans of the sport of gymnastics. You can tell by the hug from Bella Caroli, this routine's going to get a good score.
What a competition for Betty Aquino. Her first major international coming out party, the DTB Cup. That full twisting double somersault, as we said, technically not so great, but no deductions because she sticks the landing. I think this is the highlight of the routine right here. Her dismount way in the air, has plenty of time to spot the ground, so the landing is just flawless.
Easily 9.875, Betty Aquino takes over the lead from Kim Zamesco. But the young lady who's coming up next is a young lady who is also having a very, very strong meet, and that is Henrietta Onodi of Hungary. She took the gold medal on the vaulting. Earlier, she took a gold medal in the all-around competition, picked up a silver on the unevens, but did struggle on the balance beam. Let's see if she can rally back on floor exercise.
So dynamic in this exercise, and one of the things that sets her apart from the other athletes is she'll actually do 4 big tumbling passes. Here's the first one. She'll do a whip back into a pike full land, the most difficult we've seen so far today. And Leandra, she is nowhere near done. Second tumbling pass. Triple full twist. So difficult. Very few of the gymnasts in the world right now are using that for a tumbling pass. Now she'll show us something very unique. Double full right into a punch front somersault. She'll tumble out of that as well. That skill we saw on the balance beam from her. A little bit easier on a floor exercise mat, however.
I'm amazed at her energy level on this floor routine.
It's just remarkable. Look at this. Double pike. She just does not stop through this whole exercise. Wow.
What a routine from Henrietta Onodi. Just when you think you've seen it all, she does one better.
How would you like to do about 6 or 7 of them in practice one day? Can you imagine the energy level?
Hey, it would be a fantasy if I could do one of those in my life.
She just does not start. As soon as she walks out onto that floor exercise routine, the tumbling is just non-stop. She maybe could be a little bit more aesthetic in certain areas, but the tumbling is so dynamic that it kind of gets overshadowed. Here's her first tumbling pass. She does a whip back into a full twisting double somersault in the pike position. Many of the other gymnasts are doing a full twisting double somersault, but we haven't seen any yet that did it from the whip back like that. Watch this. Triple full twisting somersault here. Like we said, very few gymnasts are doing it. Look at the height she gets. 3 complete twists.
Wow.
Perfect landing.
The highest score in the meet, 9.962. Higher than anything we've seen on the vaulting, the beam, the bars. What a way to finish for Henrietta Onodi, and she's still not our final competitor. We'll be back with more on the floor exercise, but first, these messages. We are ready now for our final competitors on the women's floor exercise event. And what a tough role this lady has to fill. She has to follow Henrietta Onodi, who just received the highest score in the meet at 9.962. But Natalia Lashenova is probably the one who can do that. She's a very, very strong dancer and a very strong tumbler.
Very powerful gymnast. She'll show us our first double layout on the floor exercise of the competition. Extremely difficult. As we've said earlier, the Soviets have extremely high hopes for this young lady. Here it is, double laid out somersault, 2 flips in the laid out position, and perfect landing. Once again, just try to imagine what it's like to flip in the straight body position 2 times around.
That's a tough thing to imagine off a 10-meter board, let alone a tumbling pass in a floor routine.
Well, it's such a different style, huh?
Very long pause there.
Getting ready for a big tumbling pass, full twisting double somersault. Boy, she came awfully close to that line. As in tennis, however, the line is inbound. She's allowed to step on it, but if she goes over, there's a deduction. Her final tumbling run. Double back somersault, so much power. The Soviets are so technically oriented. Their tumbling is just perfect. They get every single ounce of power out of themselves that they can.
Her score is 9.837, so it doesn't look like she's going to factor into the medals this day because Christina Bantesh is yet to come. She's a young lady from Romania, and of all the apparatus there are in women's gymnastics, by far, this is her strongest.
Now, as we've said, there are many ingredients that you need to be a successful gymnast, especially on the floor exercise. One of them, you have to be extremely powerful, like a Mary Lou Retton style. You also have to have the grace. And I think that this is the one area that Christina is a little bit lacking in, but not here. Watch this double layout somersault, surplus of rotation there. The same mount that we saw from Lishenova. She does obviously dance. It's a requirement on the floor exercise, but just really doesn't inspire you with it at all. It's almost like she's just moving from one corner to the other so that she can show you her tumbling again. And tumble she will. Watch this. Full twisting double somersault. She'll tumble out of it as well, right into a back handspring, straddle jump, and turn around and go the other way. Very difficult.
While I'm not really thrilled with the choreography, I am certainly impressed with the tumbling and execution.
Very powerful young lady. Her dismount, of course, critical. One last landing to stick. Double back way in the air and done as well as you can do it.
Should present a strong challenge for the score put in by Henrietta Anodi. Again, that's 9.962. Right now, that's our gold medal standard for the floor exercise. Is Bantesh's routine good enough for that? Let's take another look at some of the tumbling elements, and then we'll have her score.
Well, I really don't think that she has a chance to pass Anodi. It was just such a wonderful exercise, but the acrobatic elements in this routine are phenomenal. Her mount right here, double laid out somersault, and like we said, a surplus of rotation on that skill. Tremendous.
Now let's see what the judges have to say about her.